Hey, folks.
Hello.
Hi, Karen.
So, as I see you guys, let's get your names.
I'm Devika Parikh. I play Bridget Pierce.
No, you don't.
I'm sorry.
Play Melanie Pierce.
Bridget's mother. She said, no, you don't.
I'm Yaani King Mondschein. I play Bridget Pierce.
I'm Bridget.
My name is Karen LeBlanc, and I'm playing Vanessa King.
So that being said, obviously, it's a new series on OWN. Each of you have done different projects. What went into saying yes to taking on this project, knowing how juicy the roles are? Devika?
I would say first the writing. I would say first just working on the OWN network for me was a big thing because I love the level of what they do is high quality and they tell great, interesting stories about mainly African-American families, but diverse. And I love that. And they're smart, intelligent, wealthy, have money. And then I also was excited to work with Janine Sherman-Berlois. I just think her writing is so much fun and she tells these layered stories that I love, these difficult, juicy characters. And then just also the drama, like Karen was saying earlier that she plays a lot of lawyers, doctors, straightforward people. And my character, Melanie Pierce, is really messy and she's really layered. And I love like, ooh, she drama filled. And I love that part of, wow, girl, you really did that. So I think it's just that the level of nobody's all good, nobody's all bad, we're all multi-layered, but Melanie's working to redeem herself and restore things. I love that.
Yaani?
I think what drew me to this story was all of the interesting relationships with the characters. Just like Devika was saying, Janine is such an incredible writer and story builder and character builder. Mm-hmm. She gives you these three-dimensional people and these lives that are so multifaceted, and there's just not one way to be. And I love that there isn't someone that's just like, they're the villain and that's who they're gonna be and that's who they are and that's, you can write them off and I know every episode they're just gonna be the villain. No, you start empathizing with these people that you didn't think you would, and start disliking someone you didn't think you would. Right. And that was really exciting.
What about you, Karen?
I was just thinking, I love the title of the show. I don't know, just the flavor of the title alone, intriguing. These multifaceted, multi-layered characters. I don't have kids, so having the gift to be able to play a mom of three, that right now, I'm choked about it because it's quite an honor. 30-something-year-olds kind of threw me. I'm not ready.
Ready. You look good, girl. They made you look good. They made you look good.
I was ready to rise to the challenge, and of course, the cast off stage. I mean, I am absolutely in love with my castmates. This opportunity to tell this complex, beautiful story about these dynamic, bombastic characters. It's really lovely. So, what drew to me? Everything. It sang to me. So
yes.
As I watched the episodes, I said to myself, it's like, what is it about, rich families that always are arguing, battling each other? You have it with Succession, you have it with our kind of people. You can go back to Dallas and all these other shows, and now you have it here. Like, why can't a family just be normal without battling for any sort of power within?
Because you wouldn't want to watch them. You wouldn't watch them. You'd be like, they boring. They love each other. They get along. Next.
No, but is that the case? It's like, there's always, because obviously you say to yourself, is that how most families are? That there's always drama inside when it comes to successful families?
I think successful or not, you can have anyone fighting over anything. Great grandmother's earrings, and then it's the one in the family, and everyone's arguing who gets those, or who's the best looking or whose, you know, greens are the best at Thanksgiving. Like you can find competition whether you're wealthy or not. I think with our family, it just so happens to be that we, you know, Vanessa and Uncle Reggie own a vineyard together, and that's kind of the legacy that they're leaving, and that's built a lot of their wealth, and so that's kind of the centerpiece for some of the drama. But I think in any family, you know, you could look at a family that doesn't have wealth but has other things that, you know, people want. You think, I just now thought about the movie Soul Food. And, you know, there wasn't necessarily money that was dividing them, but just the stakes and what your position is in the family. I think that transcends, and it's a story that can be told over and over in different ways because it's the never ending story. It's how families relate.
And I'm a middle sister. You know, I have an older sister and a younger sister. We're all 2 years apart. And as we get older, sometimes there are things that come up, and how we connected to our parents was different. How we saw certain events that took place in our family was very different. So even if it's not as crunchy and juicy and high drama like this show is, I still look back and I go, wow, we had those dynamics of just competition or challenge or things that, you know, come up in families that you don't always talk about or always dwell on, but they're there.
Now, well, for sure like this, how deep of your knowledge of wines are each of you? You know, like, did you know about more wine? Did you know about wine before that? Or did you get an experience about wine and all it's about doing this show? Karen?
They took us to wine school, actually, a virtual 2 hour.
It was like 3 or 4 hours. Shout out to Galena.
Yeah.
She, Chateau de Charme, she killed it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, that was a Niagara on the Lake, which is where some of the exteriors of the show is shot. No, I can't lie. I don't have a huge knowledge of wine. I love to drink wine. I am clear. My knowledge is that after 3 glasses, I'm going to be over for 3 days. How about that? Sorry. I enjoy a good red, deep oaky, woody red. Yeah, I think my education came through Galena, really.
Yeah,
It's
complex.
Yeah,
it's complex.
I love wine. I never thought I'd get to where I am, where I go, because everybody was like, you're gonna want red, you know, the cabs, and I was like, no, I like sweet wines. As I got older, my palate changed. I love red wine. There's something about it. I really like blends, and I really like wines from Napa and Paso Robles.
Nice.
Sorry.
Okay.
What about you, Yaani? You're supposed to be the wine expert on the show. You know, how deep is your knowledge?
Yaani does not drink. I'm a Baha'i. I don't drink wine, but I will still say, doing the class, working with Galena, sitting there, and just learning the science that goes into it. I mean, it's an art form, and that I can appreciate. Just, you know, from the outside in, how long it takes, about 8 years to just get the grapes growing. Just if you just, you know, from the dirt started a vineyard, you're looking at 8 years before you can even start to grow the grapes. That to me is such a beautiful testament to the art that goes into making wine. Like, yes, you know, when you pick it up from the store, you get a bottle, you get drunk and whatever. But before that, what happens, I think that's where my respect grew. Even though I'm not partaking, I can still respect the art form and the science and the magic that goes into making wine. So that I learned so much about it, and I feel like we were all on set, like, holding our glasses by the stem, swirling, sniffing, sipping, like that whole thing was like the fun theatrics of wine drinking was cool to play.
And whatever she doesn't drink, she gives to her mom.
So when you do a show like this, you can't go to anybody's house nowadays and then, you know, bring a bottle of wine and somebody gonna look at you. You working on a wine show, you're bringing me this bottle?
Yeah, right. You must not like me.
You know, people look at the year, they look at the brand, they go, you should know a little bit better than that, you know?
Exactly.
You're a wine drinker, aren't you?
No, I'm not, but but there are people, I know people on the West Coast than the East Coast pay attention more to the bottle and the year than people on the East Coast. You know, because each show, like you can bring a bottle of Coke and we're good. You know, Pepsi, Coke, Diet. East Coast, West Coast is like, what kind of bottle you bringing? You know, especially if you're in San Francisco. So, but at the end of the day, when you're doing a show like this, and you work with Janine, and you got different directors per episode. For each of you, and I'll make this the last question, what are you learning as actresses from each different director that helps your skill set per episode?
Oh, that's a wonderful question.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that is a wonderful question. I was thinking with Matthew, who shot the first 2 episodes, Matthew Cherry. I just learned from him to continue to trust myself. You getting ready to do a scene, I know that he kind of just gave us the freedom, at least for me. There were so much dynamics going on right now for Vanessa. I just, you have your first instinct and that's what you want to trust, but then sometimes you get in your head and is that right? So I learned from Matthew that it's okay to trust my instincts, and that he gave us the space for that, to just go for it.
We had 4. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah.
We had 4 different directors, and they each shot 2 episodes back to back. But I felt the same way Karen did. It felt like they each gave you room to play. Like nothing was okay. This is how I want you to do it. There were some things they had to for technical reasons, but for the most part, I felt like every director really wanted us. It was a collaboration.
Yes.
So if you threw out an idea and said, "Hey, can I try do it? Let's try it." As long as it worked for the shot and they had enough time, and they didn't have to reset the camera. But the thing that I liked was that it was really a collaboration, because this first season is laying the foundation of the show. And so because there's no one set way, like if you went to like Grey's Anatomy, they've been going for years. They have a way they do things and they work like a machine. We're still working through that and building the show and adding stuff and finding these characters. And I think my experience with each director, for me, I felt like, is that they did give us a lot of freedom to play and to experiment things.
Yeah, I think for me, I got from Matthew, and I got these things from each of them, but from Matthew, I feel like I got the sense that it was just a great reminder from him to take my time, to really like, this is my first lead that I played, so that I could really just dig into Bridget and get to know her. And with Winnie, it was then taking that and then trusting it. And just allowing me to like, okay, now that you've had that, now trust this. And then Basade was like, we just ran with, like, she would come on set and just move things and change things, and like you were all saying, collaborative. She would, okay, we did these first 4 episodes, now let's drop in. Like she would come on and be like, remember that moment? Get in there. Like it was just such a beautiful way to get in there. And then Corey Bowles was awesome with like, we just, each of them were just meeting them, for the first time. And with him, he already had a second hand, it felt like. He already had that, like, he'd come on, and sometimes we would joke that he would come on set and be like, okay, the last take, you were like this take, I want some of that. And you're like, Corey, I know exactly what you're talking about. Got it. And so they each brought similar things, but for me, those were like the little things that stood out in different ways. But again, yes, all of them so collaborative, all of them so ready to like push us and dig deeper into these episodes.
See, this has been fun. I'm sure I'll talk to you in season 2. This is not the type of show where you're gonna die, so it's not right now. So we'll keep it going where we're at. Stay safe. We'll talk down the road.
Thank you.
Merry
Christmas. Bye.
Bye.